I suppose I'm essentially romantic. I believe in the sort of emotion that you get from what your eyes show you and what you feel about certain things. Well, I don't really know what I'm painting. I'm just trying to paint.
Lonely people are drawn to the sea. Not for this artist the surge and glitter of salons, clutch of a sherry, or making polite conversation. See her when she is free, striding into the salty bluster of a cliff top in her paint-splashed corduroys, humming as she recalls the wild, shy boys she sketched in the city, allowing nature's nations of grasses and wild, shy flowers to stick to the canvas they were blown against by the mighty Cataline wind. All becomes art, and as if it was incensed by the painter's brush, the sea growls up in a white flood. The artist's cup is overflowing with what she dares to think is joy. Caught unawares as if on the wing, a solitary clover, unable to read wet paint, rolls over once, twice, and then it's fixed. Part of a field more human than the one that took the gale and is now, as she is, beyond the sun.
Those were the words of Edwin Morgan, paying tribute to my artistic hero, Joan Eardley. Eardley is at one with the landscape. She's at one with her brushes, paint and canvas. The very act of her painting is performative. And inspired by her connection with the land, I want to research what is on my own doorstep, the Pentland Hills and the Pentland Hills Park. Upon researching my Pentland Hills project, I came across a great many artists who were similarly inspired by this 26-mile park with its gentle hills, meandering rivers and quiet forests. Even Turner sketched in the Pentlands. Victoria Crowe was drawn to the winter landscapes of the area and the working shepherds. Barbara Ray takes a more colourful and playful approach to the hills and fields of the Pentlands. And Robbie Bush uses a more muted palette and a slightly naive approach to depicting the same subject matter. Inspired by these three artists, I created a few works of my own. My research became a bit obsessive, and I started to look for further material. I was initially looking for old maps in bookshops, but stumbled across a wee tome entitled Pentland Days and Country Ways, which was first published in 1935. Via this work, I became aware of other writers, Robert Louis Stevenson, who wrote and lived in Swanston Village, Robert Ferguson, who wrote The Daft Days, which were talking about the excesses of Christmas while he sat on the Pentland Hills looking towards our capital. Walter Scott, who wrote of Carnethy Hill, I think I have never seen anything more beautiful than the ridge of Carnethy against a clear foresty sky, with its peaks and varied slopes. The hills glowed like purple amethyst. The sky glowed topaz and vermilion colours. I never saw a finer screen than Pentland, considering it is neither rocky nor elevated. At this point in my research, I was still very much in my comfort zone. I'd ventured into using a few bolder colours, but I was still at a loss as to how to deliver a performance lecture based on this research. I started looking then at the work of Lee Zinmo, who highlights water pollution by painting in the water, and Secchio, who dances with her extra-large brushes. I was interested in process, but unsure in how I could adapt this to my own practice and develop it into a performative lecture. Looking into the writings about the Pentlands, I discovered the work of Allan Ramsay and his pastoral comedy, The Gentle Shepherd, written in 1725. The original manuscript, I discovered, is actually housed in Edinburgh University collections. The play was widely performed across the UK and is full of mirth and song. The story is set in the outskirts of Carlops, beside the River Esk, in a glen called Habby's Hoe, and a natural pool where the washing is done, which is called Piggy's Pool. I've lived in Edinburgh for 30 years and have passed Carlops with its large stone outcrop set just off the main road, and had never heard of the place. So in the name of research, I got out my old walking map and set forth in search of this fabled location. I took with me some canvas, inscribed with some words from the story. Go further up the stream to Habby's Hoe, where all the sweets of spring and summer grow. There o'er a little cliff between two birch trees and the waterfall, and murmurs to the breeze. Armed with some inks and oil bars and a trusty pal to record the event, we set forth.